Minnesota at Detroit. Another division game. Another division game about the home favorites. We know the Lions, well, we assume the Lions might play their starters. They have a very minimal chance to go from 3-2 in the seedings. They need the Eagles and the Cowboys to lose. The Vikings have a 4% chance to make the playoffs. This line opened at 4, got bet up to 4.5, got bet up to 5, got bet up to 5.5. It was at 5.5 at 11 a.m. this morning. And then, Simon, you and I were just doing a Green Dot Daily taping, and we were talking about this game, and I made the mistake of not checking the lines for the last 2 hours. And all of a sudden, it was back down to 3. So, like, somebody came in and hit the Vikings pretty hard. Was it you?
No, but it was a friendly reminder of how blind you are because the number was on the screen while you were talking, but I know you didn't have your glasses on, so you couldn't see a big three just staring you in the face. You kept saying, yeah, 5.5.
Well, I didn't have it in front of me when we were talking.
I know, it just
Had,
cracked me up where it reminded me how blind you are, where it's like you don't see the three on the screen.
oh, you mean well, like when
Um,
we were doing the taping, they had it on the full screen. That's funny. I
yes,
didn't even notice it.
yes.
That's so funny.
Yeah, like Chad just said it though. We're supposed to bet the Vikings here. Like Detroit. We don't have the info yet, but the number is giving us the info, isn't it? Like the fact that this number has moved so much, some sharp guys who know people that work for the Detroit, they've gotten the info, right? That's what this movement kind of highlights is like, okay, a pro with a really good, mole or whatever you want to call it on this Detroit team gave them really good info. They bet that info and they've moved the number now because the books respect that amount of money that they put down to move it a full 2.5 points. Like Chad just said, it was 5.5. Now it's 3. That's a big movement off some professional money. So I have no knowledge about what's going on, what the Lions might do, but I told Chad what I thought they would do is you use this as a mini bye week. You're stuck. Like the Eagles and the Cowboys are not losing this week. Like I do have one of them to get upset, which we'll talk about, but it just doesn't feel like a smart move for them to really go out there and try where it's like you should rest. Detroit, they've had injuries this season. They do have guys who've played all 17 games and they should take a week off or all 16 games. Like it just makes sense for them to take a little money bye week here because they're kind of stuck in that 3 spot because of a blown call last week. Like it's even more brutal now after the Eagles lost where it's like these guys could have been playing for that 2 seed and they still are technically like Chad said, but I just don't see it happening here. So I lean towards Minnesota, but it's again one of these numbers where I wouldn't take it because we really don't know yet. Like I would bet the 3 now just in case the Lions do sit people, but it would be brutal if it's like, okay, Detroit is playing all their guys, and this number goes all the way up to 6.5, and it's like, well, now I feel like an idiot. So just be careful here. I'm betting Minnesota. I bet them at 3. I just if you don't want to bet it yet and you want to wait until Sunday so you officially know who's actually playing, I understand completely.
Why do you assume that the people who bet this down have information about the Lions versus just playing the 5.5?
I mean, you just saw Minnesota this past weekend, right? You bet on Green Bay.
I did bet on Green Bay.
So yeah, like I think they know what we don't know. Like they know either what's going on the Detroit side, or maybe you're right. Maybe they know the Vikings are playing Nick Mullins and different info like that. That's why they've moved this number. But I'm just trying to explain to people that this number is not just moving off. Yeah, these guys love the Vikings here. Like no, they got info why they're backing this team here. Like they got early info that we don't have.